is dawn, and a new day begins. Across the land, a wake-up call is heard, and in the towns and cities of America, entrepreneurs rise to the call. Time for new developments, new visions, new growth. It is time to move America forward.
Welcome to our series, Moving America Forward. Each week we'll be focusing on America's entrepreneurs as they take us to new roads, new opportunities, new ways to fill the gaps left by today's failing companies. Our series will be looking at that and a lot more. So come with me and watch as the entrepreneurs of our nation move into the future.
Studios in Los Angeles with our guests, and I'd like to introduce them to you right now. First, here on my left is George Najjar. He is the president of California in the Bay Area. And on George's left is Dr. Ann DeWeese Allen. She is from Washington, D.C. and Let me go back to George and point out that a little while ago, George, you actually had a chance to have a conversation with William Shatner, answer some questions from him. Let's take a brief portion of that conversation now and see how it went. Okay?
Sounds great. I'm very concerned about healthcare. The real issue is how do we keep Americans healthy? And I understand that is one of your goals. So tell me, what are you doing to help us stay healthy? Any new procedures and developments that help people to live more productive lives and in so doing move America forward?
Well, Mr. Shatner, every day, day in and day out, adults of every age and every culture consume over 1 billion cups of products that increase your risk of weight gain, obesity, and diabetes. And what we have done is turn that into products that now bring them health and wellness and even better taste, and that is how we are helping to move America forward.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting indeed. You mentioned to William Shatner that you're referring to a product that millions upon millions of people around the world consume every day. I'm going to take a guess. Tell me if I'm wrong, but you're talking about coffee, am I right?
Yes.
And you call it Boresha. So what's different about it?
Well, now, you've got the coffee, that fat-burning coffee right in front of you. Why don't you take a taste and tell us what you think?
Fat-burning coffee?
Yes, sir.
All right. It's not going to hurt, is it?
No, it's going to be good for you.
You know, this is fabulous. This is really terrific. No kidding.
Awesome.
I'm having the latte.
Yes.
That's right. Tell me what you call this.
This is a Bee Skinny Latte.
Bee Skinny Latte.
Bee Skinny Latte.
Where is it from? I mean, where is it grown, and what's different about it?
Well, the coffee, there are really 4 reasons why this coffee is so superior. First and foremost, the place of origin is from the African soil. Okay. And that's where coffee was born in Ethiopia. Secondly, this coffee is 100% fair-traded coffee, supporting the farmers who invest every ounce of their time, energy, effort, and labor into hand-picking these beans. They're not machine-picked, they're picked by hands. So when through the fair trade, when we pay that small farmer up to 300% more than they get paid in the open market, you end up getting great crop, and there's no compromise in the quality of good that you receive in return. Thirdly, this coffee is 100% AA Arabica. There's no Robusta in it. We do not blend coffee. It's AA Arabica. And most importantly, this coffee is 100% USDA certified organic. But the most important part to why this coffee that you just tasted tastes so good, and it has very little acidity, right, and no bitterness at all, is we have a unique method in roasting coffee. That's called infrared roasting. Less than 2% of the entire coffees roasted around planet Earth are roasted through infrared roasting methodology. where there's no direct flame coming on the beans, burning the bean, overcooking, undercooking the bean. And that's why you have very little acidity and no bitterness at all. So there you go. That's why this thing tastes so good. And quite frankly, it is said to be the best tasting and the healthiest cup of coffee the world has ever seen. And we're really excited about it.
She is the clinical and medical researcher and the chief of biomedical research for the Glycemic Research Institute in Washington. She has 27 years experience as a clinical researcher. She, by the way, received the first patent on the glycemic index, and her patents have generated over $1 billion in income to the companies that hold the patents. You may have seen her at one time or another. Her picture was on the front page of the Wall Street Journal, and she also created or developed the breakthrough product of the year, as was labeled by Success Magazine. You have a rather extraordinary background. So, Dr. Allen, let me ask you, number one, what do people drink every day?
You know, it's unbelievable because it defies logic. When I tell people that scientific research over the past 30 years has proven that black coffee without any sweetener or creamer in it will make you fatter than a pig, they seriously do not take it because it's counterintuitive. If there's no creamer and no sugar, how can black coffee make you fat and elevate risk of insulin resistance? One of the biggest problems we're facing in the obesity and diabetes epidemic. But it does.
But why?
The key question. Because black coffee stimulates hormones in the human body that turn the key code for the fat cell. Further, it stimulates insulin and thereby disrupting your insulin sensitivity. That's the worst thing you can possibly do. If you're trying to create a product that would make you fat, increase the size of your fat cells, make you gain weight, and on top of it, increase your risk of insulin resistance, according to the American Diabetes Association, as well as other researchers, including myself, that's what coffee does, plain black coffee. Without sugar and without cream, it's still detrimental. Absolutely.
And can make you fat. So we'll accept that, all right? You've got the research to back it up, so we won't dwell on that more at this point. What is different about this coffee?
Well, in 1983, when I started researching coffee and understood the negative impacts, I went, okay, wait a minute. Everybody I know drinks coffee. Okay? I know people who drink a pot a day. They're going through coffee all day long. It's one of them, okay? And the problem is that every time you drink a cup of coffee, you trigger that key code in the fat cell that opens up the fat cell. And you further imbalance blood sugar because it's all about your blood sugar and your insulin levels, and then that key code. That key code is called lipoprotein lipase. So we've discovered what beverages and what drinks and what foods and what snacks and anything on the planet that you put in your mouth, including a piece of gum, will turn that key code to open up the fat cell. You don't want to do that. Not good. Not a good idea.
You said diet soda.
We were the scientists that broke the story to Kate Kirk that diet sodas were fattening, which is crazy because there's no calories and no carbs. So what we know as scientists now, and you'll notice now that a lot of the companies are pulling away from the artificial sweeteners. And they're going, all natural. Look at the recent commercials. Like, oh no, all natural. They're going back to sugar. Okay. And the reason is, sugar, in terms of its adipose tissue fat storing, is only 87 on the glycemic index. But if you look at black coffee and other ingredients and things like that, artificial sweeteners, the index is 130. So you might as well eat 5 bowls of sugar or drink a cup of black coffee. You're going to get the same result. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's get back to the coffee. What's different about this coffee?
Well, when I first started researching caffeine in coffee in 1983 and realized, like, wait a minute, one of the reasons that we're looking at an obesity epidemic is because we don't have a clue what's making us fat. How can you control your weight or control diabetes or lose weight when you don't have a clue what's making you fat? How many people know that one of the most fattening things they can do is to eat a rice cake or a banana? Okay? They don't know that. So all they'd have to do is simply modify and eat anything out of the berry family. Just give up the bananas. So as far as the coffee goes, since we know the mechanism by which coffee makes you fat and metabolically causes insulin resistance, we can correct that and change it by putting natural ingredients in there that effectively buffer the caffeine in the coffee.
It's really important that you hone in on what makes this different. Mm-hmm. We have a limited amount of time. In essence, what makes this coffee different?
By creating a buffer caffeine and a compound that undoes the deleterious effects of any drink, any beverage, any soda, including coffee or tea, or any food, we can change the body's metabolic response and avoid the cascade that causes the increase in body fat, in weight gain, in water weight, and change the insulin resistance response. You can change it with a small compound that I have a patent on. And we can really fix any beverage there is. So we take.
So you've done that to this
Yes,
coffee.
and it's a natural compound. It's completely natural, but it keeps your blood sugar from spiking and going all over the place, and it doesn't turn the ketone in your fat cells.
So you can drink. You call it skinny. Be skinny.
Yes.
Will this coffee actually help you lose weight?
There's a difference between losing weight and burning fat. 2 years with Dr. Atkins, we were both named the top 10 nutritionists by Newsweek magazine. And the problem with that was, if you go on a high-protein diet, your body creates more fat cells. So when people go on the Atkins diet or things like that, your body compensates by making more fat cells. You need to shut that down. You need to stop the body from making more fat cells by re-engineering foods and drinks so they don't do that.
And your coffee, does it do that?
Absolutely.
That's the critical thing. This coffee is actually, it will help you lose weight. That's what you're telling me.
Lose fat.
Lose
You can
fat.
cut off your head and lose weight.
Simple. You know, what we've done is as we learned here from Dr. Allen, we've combined the solution to two problems. Number one is the biggest epidemic.
Compensates by making more fat cells. You need to shut that down. You need to stop the body from making more fat cells by re-engineering foods and drinks so they don't do that.
And your coffee, does it do that?
Absolutely.
That's the critical thing.
Yes.
This coffee is engineered. It will help you lose weight. That's what you're telling me.
Lose fat.
Lose
You can
fat.
cut off your head and lose weight.
It's called
Be Skinny.
Be Skinny. And in addition to this, you have other products. You have a sweetener that will help, and you also have a creamer. And there are other products as well. How do people get information on these products?
Well, very simple. You know, what we've done is we as we learned here from Dr. Allen, we've combined the solution to two problems. Number one is the biggest epidemic problem in the world, which is obesity and diabetes. Number two is finances. Today, as you and I know, Doug, money to the many.
How do you get it? How do you get it?
You can either call the office number at 925 676 1400. You got it. Or you can go to the website, which is www.befreesystem.com/Boresha.
Very interesting.
And for those that want to read about the research and the science on the products, go to BoreshaResearch.com.
www.boresharesearch.com.
Yeah.
And that's how they get all this documentation.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Well, listen, it's a fantastic story. I wish we had tons of time to really explain it through the day. But I'm sure this has inspired a lot of people to look